Watch this one. This guy being lying. He's being caught and exposed.
I once robbed my whole gym.
This is ridiculous, bro. It just pisses me off. At this point, it pisses me off hearing this man speak. Really, like, because it's getting ridiculous now, bro. He just sits there with the straight face. Look at his face. Look at his face as well, bro. With the straight face. He says that with the straight face, like he actually meant that, like he's actually being for real, like that happened. This is what's fucking me up even more, is the fact that he's sitting there with a serious expression, like, bro, really done that. You robbed you robbed the gym by yourself, bro. You never done that shit, bro. You really didn't do it. You sat there and kept a serious facial expression and said, I robbed the whole gym. Like, that's really true, bro. Look at this guy. Let's just watch this back again, bro, because this is crazy to me, bro.
I once robbed my whole gym.
Bro, be fucking for real, fam. Be fucking for real, bro. You sitting there with this serious facial expression, like bro could have really been a great actor doing that shit. But he was on a podcast or like an interview, telling these lies, acting in real time, bro.
The whole gym. Like,
bro, stop it, bro. This guy's doing too much, bro. Stop it, bro. Just stop, bro. Just stop, bro. What the fuck?
70 kids without a gun. Like, yo, everybody give me your coats, give me your Walkmans.
Bro, shut the fuck up, bro. This guy is weird, bro. This guy is weird, bro. I don't care what he's done for hip-hop at this point in time, because he's messing up his career by doing this shit, bro. His legacy. He's messing up his legacy by doing this shit, bro, honestly, bro. Just like Will Smith, we were just reacting to Will Smith. Just like Will Smith kind of ruined his career by smacking Chris Rock, and now trying to come back to music. Like, that's going to help his career, his legacy, you know what I'm saying? Kind of low-key ruining it, and the whole situation with his wife. Don't want to get too much into it, but now Joe is doing the same thing, bro, by coming up with these daily lies that he's coming up with, though.
Didn't even carry it. Some of the guys I robbed had to help me carry the stuff with them.
Some of the guys you robbed had to help you. So the guys you robbed helped you carry the stuff that you was taking from them. How does that make sense, bro? I'm going to rob somebody, right? And the person I'm robbing is helping me rob his own shit. How does that make sense? That's what you just said. I know I'm not fucking bugging. This is what you just said. Listen.
Couldn't even carry it. Some of the guys I robbed had to help me carry the stuff with them.
Some of the guys you robbed helped you carry. Why would I help you rob me? Why would I help you rob me, bro? Why would I help you carry my own shit? That's like you trying to steal my own car, and I'ma drive you back home with my own car and hand you the keys. Here, you just stole my shit, and I'ma drive you. I'ma help you take my own car. That's basically what you're saying, bro. This shit does not make any fucking sense, bro. It's like, it don't even make sense. It's the fact that it doesn't even make sense, and he sits there with a serious facial expression like that, as if it really happened, bro. And it doesn't even make any sense. Like, one of these guys interviewing Fat Joe, right? The interviewer at some point in time has to call his own fucking bullshit, bro. He has to call him out for his bullshit and say, bro, just stop, bro. Just stop, bro. Just stop, bro. Just stop, bro. Just stop. You know, just stop. Let's change the topic. You know, talk about something else, because at this point in time, bro, I don't know how far and how much more further you're gonna continue with these lies, but I'm not interested, bro. If you're just gonna sit here and tell me some bullshit lie like this that doesn't even add up, at least make sense when you're telling a story. If you're gonna tell a lie, bro. Fucking hell, bruv.
Long ago, Fat Joe came out and said he lied in 95% of his rhymes. What did you think of that?
He told the truth for the first time, that he's a liar. That you can't believe nothing that comes out of his mouth. He's a liar.
One thing Fat Joe is famously known for is his iconic hip-hop storytelling. He always seems to have a wild story to tell, whether it's about himself or someone else. But over time, it's become clear that many of those so-called legendary tales might just be straight-up lies.
Didn't you call Fat Joe hip-hop's biggest liar?
100%.
How's that? That Joe's always lying.
He's been called out by several people in the industry. Some even nicknamed him Liatino. Let's take a look. There's no denying that Fat Joe is one of the most entertaining figures in hip-hop. Fans constantly point out how engaging and fun he is whenever he gets into storytelling mode. But where people start to draw the line is when the stories shift from entertaining to flat-out unbelievable. Some of them are so over the top that even people who weren't around during that era can instantly tell something doesn't add up. Take, for example, one of his most talked about and absurd stories. Fat Joe once claimed that back when he was in high school, he robbed his entire gym class. Not a few people, pisses me off, but the whole gym.
This shit pisses me off when I hear this story, bro. Bro, fuck out of here, bro. Who the fuck was you? Boogeyman? Debo from Friday? To just steal everyone else and nobody do shit about it? Who the fuck was you, bro? 70 people just let you steal them, bro. Just let you rob them like that.
According to Joe, that was about 70 students, and he even said he did it without using a single weapon. Just him, walking into the gym and somehow intimidating 70 teenagers into handing over their stuff.
This is dumb, bro.
I once robbed my whole gym.
This story pisses me off, bro.
The whole gym. Like 70 kids without a gun. Like, yo, everybody give me your coats, give me your Walkmans.
As if that wasn't wild enough.
Bro, this story ain't gonna get you nowhere telling this shit like that, bro. It ain't gonna get you nothing, bro. This guy is a waste man, bro.
Added that he couldn't even carry everything he stole. So some of the people he was robbing actually helped him carry it out.
What the fuck?
I couldn't even carry it. Some of the guys I robbed had to help me carry the stuff.
How, bro?
Now that's the part that really threw people off. Content creator Will Mills also spoke on this and pretty much echoed what everyone was thinking. He pointed out how wildly unrealistic that entire scenario.
How someone, that's probably what he's gonna point out. Watch. I'll predict this one. He's probably gonna mention how somebody you're robbing is gonna help you rob them by helping you carry the shit that you're taking from them.
Scenario sounds. First, the setting, most likely.
It just doesn't make no sense, bro. It doesn't make no fucking sense, bro. This shit pisses me off. That story pisses me off, bro. Weirdo, bro.
A gym somewhere in the Bronx would have had way too much going on for someone to pull that off unnoticed.
He said he robbed the whole gym. A Bronx school gym. The Bronx.
Then the number itself, 70 students, and somehow no one decided to fight back. Or even
exactly. That's another thing I should have pointed out. Nobody decided to fight back. It's a 70 kids versus one, bro. One guy's gonna come with no gun. Mind you, he ain't got no gun. If he had the gun, I would have believed that. I would have believed that 70 and the majority of these kids would have ducked. And obviously you would have probably stole them easily with a gun, bro. 70, 100, fuck it, easily. You got that in the bag, cool. No gun, bro, no weapon. He just showed up. Your fat ass looking guy, probably fat when he was a kid as well. Just being fat is enough to intimidate these kids, bro. They would have fucked you up. 70 kids would have fucked you up, bro. That's one. Two, how are they gonna help? Again, going back to my point, how are they gonna help you steal the stuff that you're taking from them? I'm not gonna help you steal like from me, bro. That doesn't make no sense. This is pure comedy, bro.
Question what was going on. They just stood around and let it happen. Mills even gave Joe the benefit of the doubt, saying maybe he did rob a few kids back then. One or two, sure, that's not hard to believe. But 70, all by himself, and getting help from the people he just jacked? That's where the story completely falls apart.
Some of these might just be exaggerations, because I'm pretty sure he probably robbed maybe one or two, because I knew dudes that I went to school with like that. But 70? Come on. Come on.
And of course, that's just one example. Fat Joe has told several other stories that raise eyebrows just as high, starting with his claim about Tupac. Back in 1995, Fat Joe was on the radio talking about the infamous East Coast versus West Coast beef. During that broadcast, he said some things that allegedly caused tensions with Puerto Rican inmates who were loyal to him.
And they asked me the question, yo, Joe, what you think about Tupac and all that? I said, yo, he's cool, but, you know, if they step to me, it's gonna be Tupac's locked up upstate in New York. The Puerto Ricans hear that, and they're, Poppy, Tupac got beef with Fat Joe.
According to Joe, Tupac somehow got wind of the situation and personally called him from prison, asking for help dealing with a Puerto Rican inmate who was supposedly giving him trouble.
I get a phone call from Greg Nice, who pretty much put me in the game, one of my brothers. He said, yo, Joe, I got Pac on the other line. I was like, Pac?
Joe claimed they had a conversation, cleared the air, and that there was no animosity between them. He even said he sent a message to his guy, Charlie Rock LD, asking him to hold Pac down in prison.
Tupac was like, yo, these Puerto Ricans is on me. Like, you said something in the radio. I don't got a problem with you, Joe. Like this, I know what's up, this. And so, you know, we sent the kite out to the Puerto Ricans and be like, nah.
But in a recent interview, Tupac's cousin, William Lesane, shut that story down completely. He explained that while Fat Joe definitely had power with his Puerto Rican people, the idea that Pac needed his help just didn't make sense.
I know he got strength with Puerto Ricans, his people. But as far as Tupac being in prison, having to call Joe to keep the Puerto Ricans off his back because they think that he got beef with Joe in the street or some. I don't know about that.
According to Lesane, the people who ran the New York State Prison where Tupac was being held were actually people who knew and loved Pac.
But a lot of people who run the prisons in the New York State penal system are people that we know. They people that love us. They family members, man.
He wasn't in a prison where people would walk all over him. On the contrary, he was surrounded by strong individuals who had his back from the moment he got there.
Tupac wasn't in a prison where people was going to walk all over him. That wasn't going to be the situation. He was in prison with people who were strong.
In fact, when Pac arrived, there were already people waiting with care packages ready to look out for him, and Pac didn't even want their help.
When he first got into Clinton, there were people already with care packages for him. Like strong people that is telling Pac, if you got problems, let me know. I'm gonna make sure that the COs know blah, 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 and this and that. And Pac telling them, nah, that's all right. I don't need none of you guys to help me with nothing.
Lesane also pointed out that the only reason Tupac was taken out of the general population and put in segregation was because of his connections to these strong figures. The prison officials didn't want any potential incidents, so they separated him. So, the idea that some Puerto Rican inmate was pressuring Pac to the point where he had to call Fat Joe for help doesn't add up at all.
Officers, knowing Pac's connection with some of the strongest people in Clinton, taking him out of population and putting him in segregation so that he don't incite anything. Does that make sense to you? That some Puerto Ricans is going to put pressure on him so that Pac can call Joe, of all people?
And that's just one of the times Fat Joe got caught exaggerating. Another recent lie that got exposed was about Big Pun. For years, Fat Joe has publicly claimed that he took care of Big Pun's wife and family after Pun passed. He said he gave Pun's wife money, tried to help her set up a business, and made sure she was good financially.
After he passed, she had hundreds of thousands of dollars. I thought I did the right thing. She spent the money unwisely, right? She comes back and says,
people are gonna make
Joe,
this
I'm
guy
doing
look
bad
stupid.
again. We give her a check out of our pocket. We say, yo, we gotta take care.
But according to Gongugu Roach, a guy who specializes in helping artists and their families recover publishing money, royalties, and other earnings, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Joe was all over the radio basically saying, I gave her $750,000, I gave her $250,000, I told her enough's enough. Everybody bought it and believed it. It was all lies and mediation. We had him admit that he never gave her a dollar in his life.
Oh, so he didn't give her no
Nothing, not $1 in his life he never gave her, period.
Gongu revealed that he actually took Fat Joe to court on behalf of Big Pun's wife after discovering that Joe had been stealing Pun's royalties for 14 years.
So instead, he's been
According to
stealing,
Liza,
bro.
after he passed away, Joe was telling her that, oh no, he owed me money. You know what I'm saying? Then all of a sudden, a bunch of fake royalty statements started to come biannually.
Apparently, Joe was generating fake royalty statements and working with Jelly Bean Benitez to send these bogus reports to Pun's wife.
For about 14 years, from about 2000 to 2014, fake royalty statements was coming out.
2000 to 2014?
Yeah. Joe used Jelly Bean Benitez as a publisher. Jelly Bean Benitez was Madonna's ex-boyfriend from the early 80s. He produced a bunch of Madonna records back in the early 80s. He remixed, he DJs now.
According to Gongu, Pun's wife had tried using multiple lawyers before him, but none of them could get her justice. When he stepped in, though, he was able to take Fat Joe to court and expose what was really going on.
Once I got the royalty statements, the same stuff that they had, it probably took me like a minute and a half to see the deception. I called her up, told her I paid for the case, paid for the auditor, took him to court.
And here's where Fat Joe's lies really start piling up. Not only did he claim he gave Pun's wife money when he actually didn't give her a dime, but he also went on interviews saying there was never a court case in the first place, when there absolutely was. Gongu even said he couldn't believe how easily people believed Joe's lies. Gongu also revealed that when a Big Pun movie was in the works, the people behind it wanted Fat Joe involved to use his influence and connections to help push the film. But according to Gongu, Joe allegedly refused to help unless Pun's wife publicly stated that he never stole from her. Of course, she refused because he did steal from her.
We were trying to do a Big Pun movie and stuff like that, right? And basically, you know, we were like, hey, you know, let's get Joe involved. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be bigger with Joe. If you do it without Joe, Joe got to, you know, Joe can get all these other people involved.
Joe played Big Pun, if anything.
Well, if you go on Instagram or if you go out there and tell publicly that I never stole from you, then I'll work with you. Otherwise, I'm not working
That's
with you. She's like,
fucked
why
up,
would
bro.
I do that? You stole from me.
So,
That's
at this
fucked
point,
up, bro.
Fat Joe isn't just a liar.
He's a
also
fraud.
a thief. And somehow,
fraud.
people keep eating up his stories like they're the truth.
He was in mediation.
I have to
Basically,
read the comments, bro. Whenever it tells a story, I have to go read the comments now to see if people still believe his bullshit, bro. Because this guy has become a huge fraud. And it's getting ridiculous now, bro, if you believe in these stories.
He said that he never gave her $1, zero. So the $750 he was talking about, he lied. The $250 he's talking about, he lied.
He lied
As you
about
see now,
everything,
people are starting to see that he lies a lot. But I don't understand why nobody reprimands him.
Another classic example of Fat
I should
Joe's
have known, bro,
ever-changing...
because I keep coming across these stories, like when I was doing the shorts reaction, I kept coming up every time, bro. This guy will pop up on my feed with a new story, bro. It was like, nah, bro. Like, it's getting to a point now, you start to find it a bit sus. This guy got way too many stories. A guy with these unlimited stories, bro, has to be lying, bro. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You know, you might have stories for days that are actually real, but there's no way, bro. Like, it's almost impossible for you to have this many stories and for them, every single one of them, to be real and accurate. Like there's got to be at least a few of these stories out of 100 stories you go a day to tell. Some of these stories, I'm pretty sure a huge number of these stories is not going to be real, bro. If you're such a huge storyteller like that, where you tell so many stories, even comedians who do storytelling for comedy, yeah, they tell a lie. They come up with some lies that they add onto the story. It's not all the way real, bro. You know, but that's cool, because the whole point is to entertain and make us laugh. But this guy just comes up with the stories, sits there with a straight face, and makes these stories seem like it's real, bro. It's not real, fam. Like, and he's just doing that for what?
Questionable storytelling comes from a bold claim he made about none other than the Notorious B.I.G. In 2023, Joe sat down on Cam Capone's platform and dropped what he thought would be a mind-blowing revelation. He said that back in the day, he and Biggie had actually recorded a full project together, an album
crazy,
supposedly made up of 8 to 10 songs.
That's
According to
fucking
Joe,
crazy.
the reason we've never heard any of it is because the project was scrapped and most likely destroyed.
How
Why?
is it destroyed, bro? This is weird, bro. A lot of these unreleased records, especially when a rapper passes away, yeah, they drop it, fam. They more likely to drop it. He would have been the first one to drop it, bro. What the fuck you talking about, bro? This is so much cap, bro. It's ridiculous, bro. I didn't even want to believe this guy knew Biggie and Pac personally like that, face to face. I didn't want to believe that, bro.
The songs were too disrespectful, apparently packed with disses aimed at Tupac.
We made a bunch of songs, you know what I'm saying? But they was like really disrespectful and hateful, and so he died, and Tupac died.
And how many songs did you guys do?
I don't know, but a couple, not maybe.
Look at that. This is what I mean. This is how you know he's lying. Look what he said right there. He said, I don't know, a couple. How you go from a couple to 10 songs, bro? What
songs did you guys do?
I don't know, but a couple, not maybe 8 songs, 10 songs.
Bro, this guy is so much cap, bro. How you go from a couple to 8 songs, bro? That's a big difference. Oh my god, bro. I bet you didn't expect him to ask you this question. This is why you was like, a couple. How, bro? A couple, only 2 songs. You go from 2 songs to 8 songs. How does that make sense, bro? Like, bro, what? That don't make no sense, bro. Caught red-handed right there, fam. Bro got caught red-handed. Going from a couple to 8 songs. Like, what? That's a huge difference, bruv.
No, like that.
Now, on the surface, this kind of sounds believable. Joe and Biggie did have a relationship. They were both from New York.
Even that I didn't want to believe, bro. I didn't even want to believe that, to be fair, but cool. Fair enough, they got evidence right here.
They were around the same scene, and they were known to have mutual respect. So at first glance, people were like, okay. But once fans started digging into it, things didn't really add up, especially when you compare Joe's own past statements. Let's rewind to September 2018. Fat Joe was on Vlad TV, and when the topic of Biggie came up, he told a very different version of the story. Back then, he said that they had been working on an album, but they only managed to record 4 songs before it fell through.
It went from 2 songs to 8 songs to 4 songs? What?
Even said Puff Daddy and the Hitmen were producing the project, but it gets even more inconsistent. In March 2021, Joe was live with Swizz Beatz and Timbaland. This was during the hype around Verzuz, and the story changed again.
Verzuz? Is that how you pronounce it, Verzuz? I thought it was just verses.
This time, Joe said he and Biggie had done 5 tracks together.
You know, I say stuff, Tim, and they always say I lie or I say too much. You know.
Yeah, you better own up to that, bro, because you do fucking lie, bro. And you still want to sit there and continue to lie, bro, when people already caught on your bullshit, fam.
Worked on an album with Biggie. We cut about 5 songs together.
Even Ja Rule called this guy out on stage live during the verses. He called him out, bro. That, what is he, player? I don't want to be a player no more. He said that's his record. He said that's his fucking record, bro. Even if you help produce, that's not your record. Ja Rule called this guy out on stage for trying to lie. Fucking hell, bro. Aren't you ashamed, bro? Like, aren't you like ashamed, bro? Like, are you not embarrassed of lying and people catching on to that, and you still want to sit there? Look at his lying face, bro. Tell me if this guy does not look like a lie. If a lie was a person, this is exactly what it looked like, bro. Look, the face is inconsistent, yeah. The eyes look like somebody who got caught lying. Now he wants to cry because he got caught lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just got that sorry ass face, bro. Look at his face, bro. You know what I mean? He just got that sorry, oh, I got caught lying face. You know what I mean? You can just tell a lie. Someone is lying right through the fucking face, bro. Like, it's just something about it. I don't know what it is. It's aura. It just tells, it screams lies all over the place, bro.
And then comes Lil Cease, one of Biggie's closest people. In December 2021, Cease was on Vlad TV and gave some serious insight into how Big felt about the East Coast-West Coast beef. According to Cease, Biggie hated the idea of feeding into the drama. He made it clear to his team, Junior MAFIA, that dissing Tupac was a line he didn't want anyone to cross. He told them flat out, "If any of you guys record this track, I'm no longer messing with you." That says a lot about where Big's head was at. He wanted to stay focused on the music, not the drama. And if Big was that firm with his own crew, why would he suddenly turn around and record a whole album full of diss tracks with Fat Joe? Then in
that does make sense, bro. Even when you look back at the history, because I've watched so many documentaries of the feud between Biggie and Pac, Biggie didn't really want smoke with Pac, to be fair. You know, it was never even a fault. Like, the whole thing was a misunderstanding. He didn't want smoke with Pac. You know, he wanted to keep things cool. He never wanted it. Like, it's not like he was scared, but he's just, because he knew that the whole thing was a misunderstanding. And Tupac was being misled with the whole shooting that led to them beefing. You know, it was being misled. That's why he didn't want smoke, because he had that much love for Pac. And yeah, it sounds about right what he said, that he just wanted to focus on his music and he didn't want the drama. It sounds about right. Yeah, it sounds right. It sounds accurate. It sounds like it's really, that was really Biggie, you know. So why would he just go on a rant of 8 songs dissing Tupac? Come on, bro. This guy Fat Joe is such a bullshit, bro.
January 2022, Cease popped up again, this time on The Art of Dialogue, and directly addressed the rumors about a supposed Fat Joe Biggie collab project. And he shut it all the way down. Cease, who was practically glued to Biggie's side during that.
Yep, and we witnessed that. We seen it. There's footages. There's everything. Like, even documentaries, videos, you can look back. This guy was Biggie's right-hand side, bro. This guy was literally the closest man to Biggie, bro. No one was closer than this man to Biggie, bro. Come on, bro.
Era said he never once saw or heard about Biggie recording anything with Joe. He did say that they might have talked about doing something together, and that kind of conversation wasn't unusual. But as far as actual songs, Cease says none ever happened.
I've seen an interview from Fat Joe, and he said that him and Biggie was working on an album together, and he said that they had a whole lot of Tupac disses on the album. How you feel about him saying that?
I don't think so. I'm sure I was around for a lot of stuff, and I didn't hear none of that at all.
He also emphasized something really important. Biggie wasn't the kind of artist to go out of his way to drop full-on diss tracks. Sure, he might throw a slick line here and there, that's just hip-hop. But a whole tape filled with shots at Tupac? That just wasn't who Big was, especially at a time when the beef was already spiraling out of control. Now, there is this mysterious rumor floating around the internet that maybe there was a clip on World Star Hip Hop years ago where Diddy himself supposedly commented on the whole Fat Joe Biggie album thing. The story goes that Diddy denied ever knowing about it. But here's the thing, no one can find the clip anymore. It's just one of those lost pieces of hip-hop internet history. Maybe it existed, maybe it didn't. But what's interesting is that fans don't buy the idea that Diddy would just let a full Biggie project disappear, especially during a time when posthumous releases were making major money. Diddy's a businessman. If there was music to be released, he'd probably have released it, unless there was a really good reason not to. On the flip side, if the songs really were packed with dissies aimed at Pac, maybe Diddy shelved the whole thing out of respect or to avoid stirring the pot even more. That's possible. Cuban Link, another voice in the conversation, has also cast doubt on the existence of any such songs or an album. Cuban, who had his own experiences with Biggie and Fat Joe, acknowledged that Joe had a relationship with Biggie, but firmly believed the idea of an album was exaggerated. Cuban Link has called out Fat Joe several times for being less than truthful, and in one of his interviews, he provided his version of events surrounding a song that Joe claims was part of this mythical Biggie album. According to Cuban Link, he, Pun, and Joe once visited Diddy's recording studio, where they met Biggie. For Cuban, this was his first time meeting the legendary rapper. After exchanging pleasantries, Diddy told Biggie to explain what he had in mind for a track. Biggie wanted a Spanish-flavored intro to bring a unique vibe to the song, something with Spanish gangster spice. Among the group, Cuban was the only one fluent in Spanish, but as a rookie at the time, he wasn't sure he could pull it off. With some encouragement from Pun, Cuban stepped up to the mic, and together, he and Pun laid down the intro Biggie envisioned. Biggie loved it and hyped them up for their contribution. Then Fat Joe jumped on the mic to add his own flair to the track.
Puffy told Big, hey, yo, tell them what you want from them so they could do it in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they could do it. You know what I'm saying? Because you say you wanted some Spanish shit. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, Pun and Joe, you know, was there.
Damn, bro. I ain't gonna lie, G.
And Pun looked.
Why you look like... Bro, you look like Famous. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. This guy's head's built like Famous, bro. Hold on, I know I'm not bugging, bro. This guy looks like Famous, bro. Oh, hell nah, bro. What? Bro, bro, I know I look alike when I see one, bro. You telling me that this man right here, dog, don't look like Famous? Bro, look at that. Look at the similarities, bro. Bro really look like Famous, bro. Identical. This is crazy. Twins, bro. How it look like Famous, G?
And shit, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, Pun and Joe, you know, was there. And Pun looked at me. I was the rookie at the time, real rookie. Like, oh, shit, y'all want me to do this? So they both put me to do, okay? So me and Pun went. So then after me and him went, me and Pun went and did our stuff. Biggie was like, yeah, he was hyped up. Then Joe went in there and he put his spice on top on a separate track by himself.
Here's where things get messy. Cuban Link claims that Fat Joe is now taking credit for the Spanish intro that Cuban and Pun created. He alleges that Joe is using a snippet of this track to push the narrative that he and Biggie recorded an entire album together.
He used that little snippet right there to sell the fact that he did an album with Biggie. Incredible liar. Disgusting.
Cuban sees this as a blatant exaggeration and has been vocal about calling Joe out for it. For Cuban, the truth is simple. There was no album, just a single track with a collaborative vibe in the studio. But Fat Joe's controversial stories about Biggie and Tupac aren't the only things stirring up drama. In 2022, he sat down for an interview and made another bold claim. This time saying he was responsible for getting Trick Daddy and Pitbull their record deals.
I put him on. I took his made sure that they played it. They wasn't never gonna play it. 6 months later, he was rich. Pitbull, I took his demo and got him signed. Trick Daddy, I took his and got him signed.
However, that didn't sit well with Uncle Luke, who wasted no time calling Joe out on Instagram. Luke, a Miami hip-hop pioneer, set the record straight with a detailed response saying, "I love Joe, but I find this very interesting because I discovered Trick Daddy. He did his first song with me as soon as he got out from being locked up, and he stayed with me. I also discovered and signed Pitbull to the platinum-selling Luke Records label. He did his first songs with me. Because I'm from Miami, I felt the importance of signing a Cuban rapper, so I discovered him off of battle rap tapes. Maybe I'm missing something here. I do have the receipts. By the way, because you don't see me in all the videos and birthday parties. Yes, I found DJ Khaled on Underground Radio Mix 96 and brought him to mainstream radio." Luke's response was backed by none other than NFL legend Deion Sanders, who chimed in with a comment that added fuel to the fire. "Tell them hero. Sometimes they forget. Luke always been that dude. He was one of my heroes and still is. Y'all have no idea what this man fought for. The music you listen to today is because of his heart, conviction, and willingness to fight for what he believed in." After the backlash, Fat Joe went live with Uncle Luke to clarify his statement, but the explanation left fans cringing. Joe tried to backtrack, saying he wasn't claiming to have discovered Trick Daddy and Pitbull, but that he was the catalyst for getting them signed. However, the video showed Uncle Luke looking visibly confused and skeptical as Joe attempted to explain himself. Fans were quick to call out Joe, pointing out how disjointed and unconvincing his explanation was.
Now, I know you discovered Trick. I know you discovered Pitbull. I never said I discovered them. Luke. I took his demo out of love for
This
him.
story is gonna get this man in trouble, bro. Like, all these stories, bro. And then you get confronted about it. And instead of holding yourself accountable, nah. You try to add more lies to it, bro, to justify your shitty lies, bro.
Pop.
Even Trick Daddy weighed in on the situation. In his view, the idea of an East Coast rapper like Fat Joe helping a Miami artist get a deal didn't make sense, especially back in the day when there was significant tension between East Coast and Southern rappers. Trick stated plainly, there was no Southern artist that was doing any kind of work or had affiliations with the East Coast rappers because they weren't on good terms. So for him to think that somebody from the East Coast would go get a brother from the South, let alone Miami, and take his music to go get him a deal with no points or strings attached, I don't see that happening.
Like I said, I love Fat Joe, love him like a brother. I believe that he loved me like a brother. As far as him hearing about me or hearing my music and taking it to somebody to hear it, probably did. For me to think that somebody from the East Coast was going to get a brother from the South, let alone Miami, and take his music and go get him a deal with no points, no strings attached, no nothing, that I don't see that happening.
Fans found Trick's perspective to be perfectly logical, especially given the cultural divide at the time. Many pointed out that East Coast rappers often looked down on Southern artists back then, so the idea of Fat Joe advocating for Trick's music seemed far-fetched. Trick even speculated that maybe Joe was just forgetful and hallucinating stuff. This incident sparked a wave of criticism, with fans accusing Fat Joe of trying to diminish and undermine the contributions of black artists to hip-hop. Many viewed his claims as an attempt to rewrite history, inserting himself into narratives where he didn't belong. And if that wasn't enough, Fat Joe has also faced allegations of being a snitch. Although he's denied these accusations, his attempts to clear his name only made things worse. In a video addressing the rumors, Joe repeatedly insisted he wasn't a snitch, but instead of offering a clear and convincing explanation, he rambled on with unrelated tangents and vague statements.
Joe Crack the Dawn has never been a rat in his life, has never told on a person in his life. I kill myself before I tell on somebody. Today's about love.
And another lie being told as usual. Of course, that's going to be a lie. Thank you very much.
Or hate. Now, meaning, we call people haters.
Although Fat Joe continues to be a respected figure in hip-hop, these missteps have certainly tarnished his reputation for some.
What a fucking liar, bro. It's embarrassing and disgusting. The amount of lies this guy came up with. Honestly, bro. Get a grip. Get a grip, bro. You're messing up your legacy. This is embarrassing. You should be ashamed of yourself, honestly. This is crazy.